All right, you guys, I want to give you today one thing that I feel is the biggest bypassing of all. It's the biggest thing that people, especially women, because this message will be especially for women, and I'll explain why in a moment. It comes with feminine energy. The biggest thing that all women are skipping, and they are expecting improvement in their life. And it doesn't really matter what kind of a journey you're at. I talk to many women on a daily basis. I work with feminine clients, and some of them are on a journey of that awakening, right? What we call awakening, whether that's awakening of a mind or kundalini awakening. But some of them are just becoming spiritually aware, right? I wouldn't call that awakening just yet. They're just starting to realize that there's more to life, that, we can do inner work, we can love ourselves a little bit more, and through that, create more peace, fulfillment, love, experience life in a softer way, in a bit of a better way, with less triggers, with less anxieties, right? But there's this one thing that they're skipping, forgetting, not doing. And I can tell you right now that this thing is foundational. If you do not do that as your daily, regular practice, right? One of the most important practices that you can do. If you're skipping that, and you're looking for excuses, and we'll explore those excuses in a moment as well. No amount of that scheduled work with your healer, with your reader, yoga classes, reading spiritual books will help you. And the magic of that thing is that it could really be the only thing that you do. If you're someone that you don't resonate, with doing the work in terms of, spiritual practices and spiritual teachers, and it may not be that path. But as a feminine, doing that, you will improve the quality of your life. And that magical thing is sitting in stillness, is truly understanding and embodying. What do we mean when we say that feminine energy is about being, not about doing? And you guys, these days it's a plague. I really know very few women, to be honest, and maybe clients aside, right? Because I work with a specific group of feminists as well. But in my personal life, one woman who does this and who knows how to do it right, sit in stillness. And it's a plague of these days of the distorted matrix, because remember, the patriarchal distorted matrix is designed to disconnect us from the truth and be obedient puppets without us knowing. And one of the biggest tools to do that is to disconnect us from our women and disconnect our women from their femininity. But this goes to men as well. Men as well are disconnected from their feminine side. So when they disconnect women from their femininity, we're puppets in the world of, invented world of masters, right? Why? Because it's the feminine power that through the magic of our womb, through the portal of our womb, we have the natural capacity to stay connected to what's beyond the veil, to stay connected with higher realms, with spirit, with source, with the meaning of life. It's the role of the feminine to bring spirit into this physical world and help to understand spirit to the masculines, who are the architects of this physical world, so their energy is more anchored in this physical world. So the biggest problem is that most women do not sit in stillness enough. They don't know how to just be and receive in a truly energetic sense. So what does it mean? They fall into a trap. Most women, I highlight this to you guys always, most women are truly in their masculine energy. And if they have any connection to their femininity, it's wounded, right? So they fall into that trap that when you don't have something going on, when you don't have a partner, when you don't have a lot of friends, when you don't have plans for the weekend, every afternoon, if you don't go for courses, for, hobbies, you're lame. You don't have anything going on, right? And in reality, if you would really look at lives of those that we call divine feminines, it's just a label, but yes, we have things, that we love, we're passionate about things, we grow, we learn, but most of our free time will be filled with moments of stillness, slowly preparing a meal, cooking, stretching, walking around the house, taking care of our house. And again, the toxic femininity is another tool of patriarchy to carve that out from our day, right? So most women these days, every weekend, their plans. They have plans, either dinner dates, or dinner parties with friends, traveling, even if it's just a little bit outside the city, to that little spa, to that mountain, just to do something. 3-4 times a week, or between 2 or 4 times a week in the afternoon, they have something going on. It's that salsa class, it's that it's that yoga class, it's that lunch with friends. God forbid I sit with myself. And here's the problem, because how we actually connect to God, it's not just going to the forest couple hours a week, few times, we're going to the park, connecting to nature, or maybe doing that 1 or 2 meditations a week. How we really connect to God, how we really connect to source, to the meaning of life, however you want to call it, it's through our stillness. It's through being. It's through opening to receive. Not just things in the physical world, and not just energy, but messages from God, intuitive thoughts, intuitive feelings, our inner knowing. So you would be surprised how many women couldn't even imagine spending the whole weekend or a good couple of days on their own with nobody around the house, just being, just contemplating, in stillness, in silence, without any plans. And it's very sad because we translate that onto our children, passing on that generation. It is trauma. It is distortion. It is conditioning of the matrix. And when I talk to, women about this, it's one of the things that, I always, if you work with me, you would know, if we work on your feminine energy, being there for yourself, it's the role of the feminine, right? The masculine, it's more, he's the architect of the physical world. The job of a feminine, the only job of the feminine, is to take care of your temple. Your temple is your body is you. That's the only job you have in this world. Obviously, we live in a world that, it's a physical world. We're going to have to be doing things, but ultimately, that's your biggest job. And how the matrix actually, disconnects us and controls us is that they create these illusions. And I've mentioned one of them in today's morning video about change, about how they convince us that certain things are traits of characters. They feed us with these labels of, I'm an extrovert, I'm this and that, I have this kind of a disorder, I cannot sit still. They're all wounds, right? So many women that I talk to, and I suggest this to them, they look for excuses, right? So they will say, but I'll just love it. I'm active. I'm very active. I just have many things going on in my life. I just love seeing friends. I just love, dinner parties. I just love it. It's just what I do. Shouldn't we follow our passions, right? Because we say this, and again, it's that deep misconception of every spiritual concept out there. Yes, it is true that we say this, and it's the ultimate rule of Bashar that I oftentimes highlight to you guys and repeat it because it's very true. Act on your highest excitement to the best of your abilities with no expectation of an outcome. And the problem with that is that many people confuse that passion with the voice of the fearful ego that is so not used to presence, being, witnessing for more than a couple of hours a week, that it creates this story. You have to do something. You have to do something because you love it. You love it. You want it. Go for that course. Go for that yoga class. Go to see those friends. You love them. You love it, right? It's all distortion. It's all a wound, okay? There is no single person who went through a journey of true self-discovery, inner work, and they would tell you BS like, I'm an extrovert, that's why I never spend, time on my own. Cultivating presence, witnessing yourself, your thoughts, your patterns, opening yourself to receive, it's crucial. It's fundamental for our journey of change and self-discovery. And again, this is the biggest tool. They shower us and they feed us with stimulants, with distractions, with there's always something going on. Live in a city, there's concert, there's museum, there's this and there's that. God forbid, spend time on your own. Because they know that if we do that, we're going to hear the voice of truth. We're going to hear the voice of our soul. So they try to numb it. And we believe that. So if you're someone, you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, but I love it. I love spending time with people. I'm an extrovert. Another invented label of modern psychology. We talked about this in the morning. I just love people. I love, interacting with people. I love having things, I'm a very active person. One has nothing to do with the other. One has nothing to do with the other. And I've even heard women give me an excuse that I can't because I have a child. That is exactly why you're supposed to do that. Because you're passing on that distortion onto your child. I know many women who have children these days and they filled already their time with something all the time. There's dancing class, there's French class, there's this, there's that. Every day after school, there's something. And then on the weekend, we're going to eat out. We're going to go to the zoo. We're going to go to the park. We're going to, go to see friends. We're going to go to the mall. We're going to go to all those horrible places, how they're called, for toddlers and like younger children with those plastic balls. Oh my God. You are not giving your child an experience. And I've heard these excuses. I want them to experience life. I want them to have things that I didn't have. Trauma, projection of your own trauma and healed trauma from childhood. What you need to teach to your child is to connect with themselves, is to connect with the wholeness of the universe, is to connect with God, is to learn to listen to their own inner voice so they can know how to think, not what to think. Otherwise, we will never escape the system. And people constantly ask, why there's so many atrocities in this world, why this world is so horrible, why this world is so sad, why these children and these new generations, they're just with their noses in their phones and they don't see things like we used to. Well, that's exactly why, because you passed on your own trauma, because they're not taught to just exist, to just be, to just listen to their thoughts, to just tap into what is going on inside of you. God is inside of you. Nothing. We're running around searching for something, searching for experiences, searching for answers, right? You're only numbing what is inside of you. No excuse that you could think to yourself if your schedule is filled with trips, with lunches, with dinner dates, with dinner parties, with excursions, with constantly doing something on the clock, right? And you're going to tell me that this is because you love it, because you're active, because we have to stay active, because you want to get out there, because you have children and you have to, right? It's an illusion. It's an illusion, a distortion coming from wound. If you need to explore your individual case, feel free to sign up for a session. Feel free to reach out to me. We can chat. But it's always an illusion designed by a patriarchal system, meant to disconnect us from the feminine side, because the feminine side is empowerment, is creation, is initiation, is connection to God. I hope this was helpful. I hope it opened your eyes a little bit, and don't look for excuses. If you're really not able to spend the entire week, the entire weekend, all the weekends of your upcoming months just in the house, slowly, in silence, listening to your own thoughts, your only task is to just cook yourself a beautiful, gorgeous, amazing meal, then we have a problem and it's a distortion within you. So work on that, because I go back to what I said in the beginning. You don't need, yes, it's very beautiful. If you want another level of healing, working with spiritual teachers, educating yourself about certain mechanisms, doing shadow work, to get to know your psyche better, practicing certain spiritual practices, it's important to have passion. But we've mentioned that I think I deviated and I've sort of changed my speaking pattern, but I was meaning to tell you guys that many people also say, but I have passions, I love doing these things, right? And someone at one point asked me, because I always mentioned this Bashar rule, act on your highest excitement, so someone at one point asked me, and I remember that, but I, for example, want to sit on a couch and eat. It's not good for me, right? So how do I distinguish? And it's exactly that. We distinguish through listening to ourselves, because you always have to ask yourself, why do I want to do it? Whatever I want to do, right? You feel like it's passion. Why do I want to do it? Is it a passion of my soul that is bringing me closer to my dharmic path? Or is it coming from a fearful ego that is just afraid, that wants to numb something, whether that's through overeating, numbing the void, whether that's, people have many ways to numb the void. Some will go towards overeating, some will go towards substances, some will go towards distractions, constantly being with people, constantly having something going on. It's all tools to numb the void within that you are afraid to connect to, because there's going to be pain in the beginning. There's going to be things that you won't understand, but it's the only way to ever connect to your soul and the truth of life.